Welcome, friends. Hello to everybody. Hello to Lou.
Hi, Sharad. How are you today?
Good. So, today we're going to be talking about the seventh of the 20 qualities of a jnani, carrying on with these 20 qualities of a jnani, a wise person. And again, these are qualities that each one of you has within yourself, and you just need to be able to bring them out, to polish them so that they are more evident than they are right now because they're covered. And if you bring them out, you're more qualified to be a wise person. You're closer on your road to becoming a self realized person. Now, you may say, well, I can't really expect to be self realized in this lifetime. But whatever you do in this lifetime, you get the benefits of that in future lifetimes. So you're moving closer to your goal. So let's talk about cleanliness.
I think you gain benefits as you take steps too, even in your current lifetime.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that it's without any benefits in the current lifetime. I've told you my own personal examples where I have so many benefits from just having learned this in the latter years of my life. And we can go over those again sometimes. But when I say cleanliness, when Krishna says to Arjuna, cleanliness, we may think to ourselves we're talking about, clean body and clean surroundings. And yes, he means that also. But essentially, he's mainly talking about cleanliness of the mind and the intellect. And in addition, it's like going to an ophthalmologist and him saying, read these letters, A, O, E, X, etc. And you have to look at the big letters, and as you go further and further down, they're tiny letters. If you can't see the big letters, you can't even imagine that you're going to be able to see the small letters. So if you can't see the dirt on the body, on your own body, or around you, or in your surroundings, how are you going to see the dirt that's inside in your mind and your intellect? So you need to be able to start at the base, which is your body and your environment, clean everything, make everything pure, and then at the same time work on cleaning your mind and your intellect. So the mind's cleanliness versus dirtiness depends on a lot of other things: thoughts, emotions, different kinds of vasanas that a person has. So you've got to be very clear that the cleanliness of your equipment is your mind and your intellect and your body. That cleanliness and your actions, whatever actions your mind dictates that you take, your intellect dictates that you take, should be clean and pure. Your words that you speak, they shouldn't be lies. They shouldn't be hurtful. They shouldn't be false. These false, lies, hurtful comments essentially are impurities. Whereas a person who speaks the truth, speaks loving words, sweet words all the time, and if he has negative feelings, he basically just goes past those. But he doesn't say hurtful things. Such a person, you say, he's such a sweet person, such a sweet guy. So our actions should be pure, our mind should be pure of impurities. So our vasanas, our desires are considered impure, dirty. So how do you clean your mind? By satsang. Satsang, I've told you many times, means you get together with people who are like-minded to you. You basically get together periodically, regularly with people who are talking good things, that are like-minded, not people who are talking about parties and what clothes somebody's wearing or how much money somebody made or some business deal. That's not the kind of like-minded satsang that you're looking to get. So you read books that are pure, autobiographies of good people, autobiographies that of people who have reached something. We can go over that if you want. Read good books. Your feelings should be sublime, not of hatred, anger, jealousy, not those kind of feelings. Instead of dwelling on those and fostering them and fanning the flames of anger and jealousy, you should try and move away from them. Don't just suppress them. Move away from them. Say, I don't want to think about that. Just move away. Your sublime feelings are that of sacrifice, of compassion, of love, of kindness. So every time I become angry or jealous or any kind of negative feelings like that, it leaves a scar in your mind. Remember that. That's the chitta. The memory of things is a chitta. And we've talked about that. Chitta, chitta. And that scar remains and it marks itself not only for this lifetime, but for future lifetime. It goes on. So your intellect and your chitta, you should refresh them. You should cleanse them. How? So you remember we talked about, excuse me, you remember we talked about how when you experience something that is negative, it's filed in a file in your mind. And the earlier on in life that you experience that, that file is older. The newer files, things that I experienced yesterday or today, are newer files. When something happens, when an experience again takes place, your intellect quickly refers to its files. What file is it most comfortable with? The file that is the oldest. So it refers back to those old files. Now, if those files have been filled with junk, you're going to keep referring to the junk. You're going to be referring to chitta, memory of files that you shouldn't be looking at. You should be looking at the newer ones. Let's say you're learning the teachings of the scriptures, the Gita. Now, more recently, you should make it a habit to try and remember these files, not the old ones. Somebody says something mean to you, you're going to say, oh, I want to do this to him. No, you should be thinking about what you're learning now. So don't keep referring to old files, but rather refer to the newer ones that you. Then pure, be free from vasanas, from desires, from attachments. Remember we talked about attachments. That attachments basically take away from purity and spirituality. Maintain the desire for purity. If you keep thinking, I want to be pure, I want to be clean, it will happen. This will make you aware of your impurities instead of just pushing them away, both internal and external. Your surroundings, your body, your physical fitness. Start with the body, which is the lowest, then the mind, then the intellect. Mental cleanliness, sharp mind. So that's the difference between, say, self-control, which we'll talk about at another time, and self-denial. But briefly, self-control is where you master your desires. Self-denial is where you deny yourself anything that you desire. So that's cleanliness. Lou, any comments, any thoughts?
No, it's just that these thoughts that you talk about for purity, for cleanliness and purity here, it is hard to think negative of someone else without riling up that emotion in yourself. And that just clouds your mind. It just disturbs your mind, which is something we're trying to get away from.
Right. Not just thinking negative about something, but any emotion like that, hatred, jealousy, all of these have negative connotations and which disturb your mind. All these desires.
Just being judgmental. Many people are just judgmental, and it's just like there's all these negative thoughts that just create disturbance.
You cannot imagine how much noise, how much disturbance negative thoughts create within yourself. I mean, just that example that Gautam Jain gave us is about a man who is stuck in an airplane for a few hours worth of flight, and he's a chain smoker. And his mind starts just saying cigarette, 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 until it becomes such a loud noise, he can't think of anything else. Imagine all your vasanas, desires, thoughts, negativity is the same way. You're jealous of somebody. Somebody said something that you say, I hate him for saying that. That is thought about how you hate this person is going to keep bothering you again and again until you get it out of your system. So the next quality, which is the 8th of the 20 qualities, is called steadfastness. Steadfastness in Sanskrit is sthairya. 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 Sthairya is steadfastness, meaning once you're on a path, you stay on that path. You are steadfast. You are determined to get to the end. So most people say, oh yeah, I'm going to start this, right? Like a New Year's resolution. Right. I'm going to start whatever. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to read so much every day. And that is rajas. Rajas makes you want to drive. You want to do something. But if you're sattvic, then you continue on that path. If you're just purely rajasic, you start and then you stop. And what sthairya or steadfastness is sattvic. that you start something and you keep doing it until you see it right to the end. So if you're listening to these, if you're studying the scriptures, if you're studying the Gita, take time to be regular in what you're doing. Otherwise, it's like going to the gym to exercise for 1 hour in a week,
Yeah.
and or you go out even for 1 hour, and then you leave and you eat a carton full of ice cream. That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. You have to be steadfast. Imagine these athletes who play tennis or cricket. Do you know how much they practice? How many hours, how much they deny themselves or master their desires to say, I can't eat this and I can't do that? That is all steadfastness for their career, for their love of what they do. So don't deviate from your path. Um, Pursue your spiritual goal with determination, without swerving from it. Use and regulate the channels of your energy, of your mind and your intellect, so that you're steadfast on this, so that you use the energy that is necessary for you to practice spirituality and reach your goal. So if I say I study, yeah, maybe I go and you listen to a podcast like this or pick up your book and you study for one day. Then what happens the rest of the week? You can't go back. That study has to carry through for the whole week. You go to church on Sunday. What happens the rest of the days? I know a lot of people, friends of mine, who go to church on Sunday, and during that time, they're a certain way. The rest of the time, they're a totally different way. They forget. So they may fast on Friday. What about the rest of the time? So, key questions to ask yourself is your life, the way you live your life, aligned to your values all the time? This is how it should be. Steadfast means your life is aligned to whatever values you have written down. Remember, I told you once before to write these things down. Write your values down and say, is my life aligned to that? Or do I deviate it from it? Do I align it only on Sunday mornings? Or do I do this all the time? Are you working in a spirit of service and sacrifice every day? So, yes, you may be working some of the time, you may be working some of the days, but is it all the time and every day? So, what do I mean by a spirit of service? So, I think we spoke about this, that if you're a physician, you should say, or a teacher or a nurse, many of these services, you're serving somebody, you're serving a patient. When a patient walks in, the thought shouldn't go through your mind to say, okay, here's how much I'm going to earn from this,
Right.
whether it be surgery. Thought should be, how can I help this person? And I can promise you that if you think in terms of a spirit of service, the money and the rewards will come, guaranteed. If you just look at the service that you're doing, the rewards will come. Somebody had asked, what happens if I'm a stockbroker? Where's the service in that? I have to go to work and gamble all day, just buy and sell, buy and sell. How is that service? And so if you're playing the stock market and you're making money that way, you understand that that is the precursor to your using that money to be of service to somebody else. So you could make a lot of money, keep what you need for your own needs, for your family's needs, and then what do? You do service with the rest of that money. Maybe, look at Warren Buffett. He's the greatest of stock market players. But what does he do? He keeps a certain amount of money for himself. It's not like he's poor, but he lives a modest lifespan. You're laughing, Lou.
Yeah.
Not like he's poor, is right, one of the
No.
richest men. But
Right.
all these people together have decided that they're going to give away most of their wealth. And so that's a spirit of sacrifice. Look at the guy who started Microsoft.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bill
he and
Gates.
his
Yeah.
wife, Bill Gates, Melinda Gates and Bill Gates are out all the time working nonstop to eradicate different diseases. And they work very, very hard in a spirit of service. What are you wearing? What clothes do you wear? What kind of outfits? I mean, it's necessary to think about that. What kind of music do you listen to? What do you watch on TV? All of these things are important in terms of this steadfastness, because you have a job to do for yourself. You've committed to it. If you have committed to it, then stick to it. So those are the 2 qualities of the 20 qualities that we talked about. And it's been, what, 20 minutes, Lou? Or almost?
15.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah,
Just enough for a short, quick drive and listening to this on your podcast.
that's right. And there are 125 other podcasts if you have a little extra time, if you want to go back and catch up, right?
Right. Good. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.